The good times and good vibes continue to roll through Patriots Nation on the heels of Sunday's momentous 29-25 victory over the Buffalo Bills. Though one and many on the local and national scene continue to say it is as much an indictment of the struggles of the Buffalo Bills as it was the fortitude and will of the New England Patriots, we here at Six Rings in Football Things are trying to stay as Pats positive as possible. Yes, Andy, we're going to try. We're going to actually try on.
I don't have to. F that. You beat the Bills. You took their punch. They punched back. You had the chance to give it away, kick it away. You tried, but you fought to the finish and you won. F that. That's a good win. I'm not doing any of the, the Bills suck or the Josh Allen.
Good.
We're not doing that.
All
That's
right,
a
good
good
to hear.
effing win. I don't know what it means for anything before the good effing win or after the good effing win, but Sunday I will be dubbing permanently a good effing win.
There you go. Good. See, you are remaining Pats positive. I like to hear that as well.
I'm objective. When I see a good effing win, I call it a good effing win, and I say as many times as possible, good effing win.
Wow, and we are effing thrilled to be sponsored by FanDuel Sportsbook. FanDuel, make every moment more. You're welcome for the contributions that I made to Uncle FanDuel on Monday night, betting on or making a selection and wagering on the San Francisco 49ers as this season continues to just be off the rails, off the wall, and off the everything it can possibly be. That was something we discussed this morning on the Breaking Boston podcast, where producer Cooper Leonard and I dubbed this coming Sunday's game between the New England Patriots and the Miami Dolphins the Fraud Bowl. And we'll get to that a little bit later in this podcast. And of course, later in the week when we preview Pats at Fins, which, dare I say, Andy, is a pivotal game for both franchises, most especially New England. But first, we need to put our final grades recap review before we tuck away Sunday's win. Not the good vibes and the positivity that we hope to continue and maintain from that. Let's just go ahead and do our usual Tuesday grades of the previous Patriots game. And what's nice about this one, in addition to the fact that we've all been largely positive about the effort put forth by the team, the comeback, Mac Jones's first signature win, his biggest comeback to date, taking the punch from Buffalo, Bill O'Brien doing his thing, the "oh yeah" now replaced by the chant of family in the locker room. A lot of good vibes from Sunday's game. We all know the one, many things can be true, but the one truth is whatever the Patriots do, if they can't carry this momentum forward, then Sunday will be an anomalous one-off. And it was nice to actually feel that way for just a couple of days and for one game, like it was the good old days. But can they continue this? That's what we will ultimately get to. Plus, in the back end of the podcast, we will take one further look at the Bill Belichick contract extension, the lucrative extension. How many years is it? Did our old pal Dale Arnold nail it with his sources on the tweet? I call it the Bellaflex. Why did he feel the need, or excuse me, someone feel the need to leak that information out last particular Sunday? But first, all right, like we said, let's get to it. Andrew, grades for your New England Patriots and their 29-25 victory. Let's start off on the score of the ball side, the offense, who have been routinely and regularly getting at best a C-, more frequently D's, D-, and possibly even one F along the way this season. What grade did you give them for Sunday's 29-point output?
So I was on NBC Sports Boston last Wednesday, and we reacted to a Michael Holley clip from Tuesday night in which he declared that Bill O'Brien was the worst offensive coordinator in the National Football League. And it was a hot take from a guy who historically has not been a hot take artist. That's not been Michael Holley's MO, but I thought it was a bit of a ridiculous take, quite honestly. I mean, I think Bill O'Brien is a good coach. Has he had a great start? No, I'm not going to argue that. The offense has been bad. I've defended him saying when your line stinks, your receivers stink, your quarterback's playing awful, you can't run it, you can't, hard to call plays, hard to draw things up. I think all around the Patriots bounced back this week. Bill O'Brien, I thought, did a nice job. I thought there were some personnel decisions which go up the ladder to Bill Belichick in terms of, hey, Mike Onwenu at right tackle. What a novel idea. I wish I did have it 2 years ago. I don't know why you didn't have it 2 years ago.
And we've only been shouting for that move for the last 7 months as well.
Demario Douglas getting the ball. What a novel idea. I wish Oh, I did have that. Yep. Thanks,
Yep.
Bill.
We've been begging you to do that since the end of August. Yes.
Correct. And I mean, the offense I thought looked what we expected more for the totality of the beginning of the season. Competent, capable, not great. I'm not saying they are like the next greatest
No.
turf and they're going to start rivaling the Dolphins for points and yards. And no.
No, but the C words came back. The C words
Yes.
came back to the
And
fore.
that was nice to see as a fan, as an
Ah.
analyst, as a quarterback. I'm sure it was nice to see that. And so I gave them a B plus because I still think there's room. The offensive, I mean, the running game, still not where I'd like it to be. Both Stevenson and Elliott below 4 yards a carry on their combined 20 attempts. But I thought it was big to punch that touchdown in for Zeke Elliott, second week in a row where he had a touchdown on the goal line, punch it in. That's what he was brought here to do after the double digits in Dallas the last couple of years. I'd still like to see some more consistency out of those guys. I think they're still like 27th in the league in rushing or something after this performance. But I would say every arrow, correct me if I'm wrong here, not every Pharaoh, because he was pointing upward as well, but every arrow pointed upward.
What you did there.
Like
Yes.
Kendrick Bourne, 2 weeks in a row, is your number one receiver, both in terms of reps, production, efficiency. We'll get to his mistake at some point, but whatever. The line was better. You had those guys playing.
Oh, the
Cole
line
Strange.
was massively
Right.
that to me, even before you get into Mac Jones, who will get his own grade momentarily, even before you get into Mac Jones and the quarterbacking, it begins again as simply as in the trenches. And maybe, just maybe, it was the Mike Onwenu move. Maybe it was the reinsertion of Cole Strange. Maybe it was Dante Scarnecchia being there, being honored in the Patriots Hall of Fame, and they had to make sure they showed up and showed out for Scar this weekend. Or maybe just it was a combination of all things therein. Plus, Buffalo's pass rush was a little bit lacking because obviously no Ed Oliver, who's one of the better defensive
We're not doing
tackles.
that. Nope.
Okay.
No. We're not
Right.
doing
All
the
right.
opposite of a moral victory, Fitzy. They played the team in front of them. The team in front of them came in with 24 sacks. The team in front of them has Leonard Floyd and has Von
Greg
Miller.
Rousseau and Von Miller.
Yeah, we're not doing that. We're not, because guess what?
Okay.
The Patriots didn't have Gonzalez and the Patriots didn't have Judon. That's called NFL football. That's why there are injury reports. And that's why, gambling pays attention and fantasy pays attention to those things. That's why the Falcons are in trouble because Bijan Robinson, they didn't properly note him on their injury report. So we're not doing that. We're saying the game was played, and the game that was played, the Patriots offense looked good. B plus. What do you got?
Same grade. Exactly.
And I think that's optimistic on our end because it leaves room for growth and improvement. We're not saying like, the dunk contest, the very first dunk they give out of 10, and you're like, well, what are you going to do if there's a better dunk in 3 dunks from now? Like, no, there's room for growth for this offense, but that was more like the offense I expected in the summer and when the season started. Good to see.
Exactly. And I think this was our main question on the Six Rings post-game show on Sunday. If you happen to have caught the podcast or the live broadcast, which was exciting, energy-packed as always.
A bit all over the place, but I blame Fitzy for that.
That's the way. It definitely wasn't the over-caffeinated man-child to my left. That's the $1 million question right now is, to me, I think this is the team we should have been seeing all along, or maybe this was the team we saw earlier in the season that had a couple of roadblocks and major stumbles, both at home and away. But this is who the Patriots are capable of being. This is probably the best version of what you will see. They're not going to score many more points, but they should be able to hover around or the low to mid 20s against quality teams. They did everything the way that they should have done it on Sunday. The blocking was solid. The receivers were crisp. Also, as noted by Henry McKenna on Monday, the Patriots largely went with a 3 wide receiver package Sunday. The 3 receivers who got the most playing time were Kendrick Bourne, Pop Douglas, and Jalen Reagor. Not Tyquan Thornton, not Devontae Parker. Thornton, you can't stay if you can't stay healthy, then we can't keep dragging your ass along. And Devontae Parker, if you're going to drop big balls like that and be a net zero for the offensive proficiency and output, sorry, we don't need you as much. I thought that was a great choice by Bill O'Brien, Mac Jones, and Belichick.
Yeah. I'd like to, if we're going to go down the road, like Tyquan Thornton, what does it should say you do here? How can you only be on the field?
I've been asking that since last year.
Because so we're not at the game, and I'm always worried we miss the press box injury update that they announced.
Yeah.
So I was like, Cadlick, did they say anything at any point about Tyquan Thornton? Like, questionable, doubtful, hamstring, like nothing. There was no, he just didn't play. So I don't know where that's going, but at least you got two. Like you feel good about where Bourne is and where he's going with Mac. Again, forget the fumble. It happens. Let's move on.
Right.
And Demario Douglas played a full game with a full opportunities, didn't get banged up. That was kind of the thing we've been having an issue with. Like, we want to see him more, but he needs to stay on the field when he gets his opportunities. He did that.
Yep.
And your tight ends
on National Tight Ends Day, no less, were a major part. Like along with Mondre's 34-yard scamper on the screen, a significant portion of your game, ultimately game-winning drive. And I'd also like to point out on the Bourne thing, over the last 2 weeks, 10 catches, 6. So now he's averaging 8 over the last 2 weeks, 91 yards against Vegas, 63 and a touchdown against Buffalo. Who in the world wouldn't take 8 catches for 80 yards and a touchdown every other week from Kendrick Bourne? That's damn near wide receiver 1 output.
Well, this is what I thought, again, not to like pat myself on the back, but when I said he was going to win the Triple Crown, receptions, yards, and touchdowns for the Patriots, this is what I was envisioning. Like, I thought he was going to be this centerpiece of the offense. Hey, it's okay. Bill Belichick, Bill O'Brien, I understand. It takes a little time for you guys to catch up with the greatness that's below the new Tennessee orange visor. Like, it's okay. You still got time to play it out.
I know it's a very short trip to pat yourself on the back. Go ahead.
Well, and to be fair, most of the things that they did, most of us have been calling for. Like the victory lap this week by media and fans, like, keep it simple.
So before we grade out the defense, and you were saying earlier, like both teams went to battle and played with the players they brought. The Patriots were just as shorthanded on defense, especially along the defensive front, and did a great job generating their best pass rush on the season. But let me just ask this general question. I'll represent a majority of Patriots fans when I ask it. What the F took the Patriots so long to finally do the things like putting Pop Douglas in more? Obviously, you couldn't play Juju. You couldn't try to validate that contract because he still hasn't come out of the concussion protocol. But you threw to the tight ends more. You threw to Pop Douglas more. You threw to Kendrick Bourne more. And you put on Onwenu at right tackle. And gee whiz, Andy, look what happened. Look what happened.
And even the explanation, and I don't want to get going too long here, but the explanation of the Onwenu thing where Bill said, well, I had a nice conversation with him at the Raiders game, and we decided now this will be best for like, wait a minute. You asked for his opinion? Like, where did the Bill Belichick that for 20 years has basically done whatever he damn well pleases to every player? And you asked him if he'd be willing to play right tackle or wanted to play, like, what is this, me coaching like youth baseball or something? Hey, I need you tonight. Would you mind playing short? Is everyone
getting the ball enough? Are all the parents happy?
Like, no, that's not how it works. The hell? But anyway, we're not doing that. We're staying positive. Yeah. These things did all happen, and they all worked on a really nice level for the offense. Now keep it going in Miami, which has been a house of horrors for the Patriots offense over the years. So, stay functional.
Exactly. All right, let's flip it over to the defensive side, aka the stop the people from scoring the ball side. I gave this one a B+ as well. And not just for the fact that they limited Buffalo to 24 points. Yes, they had a tough fourth quarter. Obviously, Josh Allen was going to get his eventually, but better than expected coverage from J.C. Jackson on Steph Diggs, who did not really get the best of Mr. INT on this day. He did a better job than he usually does.
If Josh Allen hadn't missed him like 4 times, he probably would have had 200 yards.
Okay, well, one of the reasons why Josh Allen missed him was either Josh Allen trying too hard, or how about this? The New England Patriots generating a good pass rush without their best pass rushers. No Keon White, no Matthew Judon, no Josh Uche, no problem. It's pretty damn. I was it was really, really good front effort by the front seven on this guy.
As is so often the case, I am just a little bit more positive than you, Fitzgerald.
Of course.
I went
That's what everyone says when they listen.
I think when you take into account the health and the bodies and, the different people doing it, I thought this was a really, really impressive performance. Now, I do have to admit, and I said this to Joe Braverman, our producer, at one point, like, Josh Allen had a right shoulder injury all week, and I thought Josh Allen was a little off on some throws, especially rolling out. But guess what? Why was he rolling out? Because the defense was chasing him early and often. I think CBS had 10 of 17 dropbacks. He was pressured in the first half. Like, you came out.
That's how you do it.
Without your guys, you got after him. So good team defense. Yeah. It makes it harder for Josh Allen to throw when he's being chased, and it makes it harder for him to get the ball to Steph Diggs, even if Diggs has a step on his coverage, whoever it is. So Jack Jones got back out there. The one thing I will say, I thought their tackling at times was putrid, especially in the back end. Really bad. But it didn't really cost you in the end. It cost you.
You got lucky on that one. So why is that? Why is that now presenting itself as an issue? Like, you would think that one of the fundamentals, like, I don't know, wrapping up in the open field, something that cornerbacks and safeties of previous year and decade in a Bill Belichick defense have hung their hats on, like, the Malcolm Butler, Logan Ryan, Devin McCourty. These people were solid fundamental like excellent open field tacklers. Even Stephon Gilmore, not the most physical corner in the world, great tackler. What the hell's going on with Kyle Duggar and these guys? We all know Jabril Peppers. I shan't offer a criticism of that man. He is now the new number one atop my favorite players on the Patriots power rankings this week. But Kyle Duggar, it's a contract year. Wrap someone up, bro.
Yeah. There's a few theories I have. I mean, the one everybody always points to is like, they don't practice enough tackling in the offseason. There's not enough hitting, and they're not ready on game day. There may be something to that, but it's also 7 games into the season. Like, you've had plenty of live action. I think there's also something to the trusting everybody around you. And there's been some moving parts on that team. And, if you're Devin McCourty and you're playing with Adrian Phil, like, you pretty much know where the other is. Like, you got, even JC Jackson that first time through, like, you kind of knew your secondary, you knew your leverage and you guys around me where I can, take a shot, where I can't, where I never. And I just wonder if maybe some of the moving pieces on the defense and not necessarily totally trusting or understanding where your teammate may be could play a role in that. Or maybe I'm just making excuses and they've been making physical mistakes, because Kyle Duggar in particular needs to be better. Like, I'm sorry.
Yes.
I asked you to do that.
That's the tweet.
Kyle Duggar, be better. So, but other than that, I think that defense, Steve Belichick, Gerard Mayo, the leaders of the defense, I think they should be really, really feeling good about themselves, the performance they put forth.
They 100% should. They got pressure on Josh Allen. Buffalo averaged less than 4 yards a carry on Sunday, which is great to see, even with their impaired defensive line. Now, Steph Diggs did have a couple of drops. Dalton Kincaid, your leading receiver, 8 for 75 yards. Now, we figured, I think there was a lot of discussion. Dawson Knox now injured. He's not going to be out there for a while. So anybody who has Dalton Kincaid on their fantasy roster, or perhaps sees him on the waivers, might want to go ahead and pick him up.
This is a budding problem that doesn't surprise me. I think there's
speedy tight ends give them a hard time,
because the Duggar and Peppers, for whatever they are, aren't great in coverage. Although Peppers would say, like, wait a minute, did you see what I did in coverage to Josh Allen on his first throw? Bitch, who ain't good in coverage.
Wow, that would be a very aggressive reply.
Well, he seems like a really aggressive guy.
Seems like a pretty aggressive guy too.
Yeah. But if you remember the Raiders, Michael Mayer, their rookie tight end out of Notre Dame, hadn't done much all year, was early
coming out party
against the Patriots. So I think this is something where other teams, it's a copycat league, but teams also know that there's some coverage susceptibility in the middle of the field with Juwan Bentley, Duggar, Peppers, like those guys in there. So I think you will continue to see backs and tight ends try to take advantage of that.
I would. And I'm not exactly sure who the tight end is that would be able to take advantage of the Patriots this coming Sunday as well. But Buffalo does present one of the more unique problems in having 2 young, speedy tight ends that are just physical enough to get the job done as well. But yeah, I don't have many other issues aside from like the tackling issue, just wrapping guys up. Otherwise, given who they are, who they have, and what they have going on right now and the injuries they've sustained, I thought the Patriots did a damn good job. B+ on the D.
And just one quick on the Jack Jones penalty. It was not a penalty. It was a flop. And, I get mad when Mac flops. Josh Allen
flops this weekend, by the way.
Oh, my God. The Jalen Carter one was the best ever. The biggest, most athletic man on the field went down like with like a finger. It was.
Yeah,
awesome.
It was LeBron-esque.
Yeah, it was. But Jack Jones, just don't give like a bad angle or a bad ref a chance to make that call. Like, if you're lower, they can't make that call. Like, just be smarter. It's like driving defensively. Like, you can say, well, this person, backed out of their drive. Yeah, but if you were paying a little better attention, maybe you could have avoided it. Like, drive a little more defensively, be a little smarter, because they're not good enough. Like a 15-yard penalty could change a game for them. Absolutely change a game for them. So don't give anybody the opportunity to steal one.
Special teams, I went A minus.
I went A. I thought they were really good. I thought Ryland and Behringer is coming on. He only punted twice, but they were both
plenty of practice. As I told Rich Keefe Monday night, he's had plenty of practice through the first 6 games.
But
that
one out of bounds, the 3 or the 2, whatever it was, and then even the bomb that Brendan Schooler came down and covered the guy for inside the 10 or 11 yard line, wherever it was. They're like, great job by him. We've talked about it. You've mocked it. The weakness of the special teams right now is the long snapper, who is very well. Yeah. I gotta wonder, and I don't want to get them in trouble, but I wonder if he's dealing with an injury. He's been so inconsistent to start the year. I wonder if he has like a torn labrum or like.
Shouldn't they report it then, Andrew?
Well, they should, but they didn't have space. We listed 20 guys last week. There's only 20 spots on the injured. The 21st would have been Cardona.
Is there an injured list maximum? Like, guys, you can only report 20 injured. I mean, like it was the freaking, their injured list last week was like the end credits of Avengers Endgame. It just kept going and going and going.
But yeah, special teams good. And I know I could use a little less Cam Accord basically doing cartwheels and hooting and hollering on the sideline every single
doing Cam Accord. Huh?
Like,
yeah, you get 2 special teams coaches. There should be no mistakes. There should be no possible delays of game. There should be no offsides. It should be buttoned up.
And I expect you to be good. I don't know. You shouldn't be celebrating every single play like it's the greatest because, quite frankly, you haven't been great a lot of the year. There's been too many mistakes still on special teams. So, like high school coaches, don't spike the ball, like act like you've been in the end zone before and you'll be there again. Right. How about act like you're a good special teams team and will continue to be a good special teams team? Like, not that you're surprised that good things are happening.
Absolutely. But it was a market improvement from weeks past as well. Chad Ryland also doing a nice job kicking his extra points and his field goals. I think he's coming along as well.
Oh, yeah. They're going to be fine. Those 2. Yeah. I have no doubt.
Solid picks. I love them. Solid picks.
It's why I half jokingly say Christian Gonzalez, Chad Ryland, Bryce Behringer. Who else you got for the future?
Yeah, exactly. From this particular draft class, maybe their best draft class in ages as well. And I'm also holding on.
Well, you say that every year.
Well, it's at least I'm on brand. Coaching.
Coaching, I went A.
Okay.
I thought the defensive coaching, I thought, starting fast. I thought the motivation. So the Belichickian, like big picture directives, but also the Mayo Belichick, O'Brien sort of gaming the beginning of the game, adjustments. Remind me, should I be faulting something? Like, what'd they pork up? Like, what should I? Because I feel
really good. Couple of run plays on third. Like there was one run play in the first half on like a 3rd and 4. So like there was one series where O'Brien called 3 straight runs and it finished with like a 4th and 4, 4th and 5. Is like
we've done that for 20 years to Weiss. We've done it to O'Brien. We've done it to McDaniels.
It wasn't perfect. It was pretty damn great. I gave it an A minus.
Perfect. I said A. I didn't say A plus.
But you can't. Oh, all right. I gave it an A minus.
Wow, very negative.
No, because you know what's going to happen when they do it again this Sunday in Miami, then I'll give them the A to the A plus.
And then I'll give them an A plus.
There you go.
And then after that, I'll make up a new grade.
And the quarterback, okay, here's the first one. Here's my only straight A. And yes, I know there was a strip sack that was negated by a penalty. So some may say, yeah, but he almost put the game in the ground and screwed it. All right, well, they got lucky. These things happen. Same thing happened for Buffalo as well at a certain point. Mac Jones, your best game as a pro, your biggest win for the Patriots, and you now have the signature comeback drive, plus all of this. The reason why Mac gets an A, especially for me, in the face of all the adversity, the criticism, the terrible plays, throwing across your body, 3 pick sixes, the scrutiny, fans yelling at you, media calling for your job. He can't get it done. He's not it. Fans wearing bags over their heads with Mac Jones effing sucks sweatshirts on the way, making the social media rounds. In the face of all of that, to play the way he did, A.
Absolutely. I'll give another A. This is the Mac we were promised coming out of Alabama. This is Alabama Mac. This is first round Mac. This is future
2021 Mac.
Yeah. Well, no. This was better than 2021 Mac.
I don't mean to step on your toes. This feels like, Andy, tell me if you think this is wrong, but my assessment is this feels like we picked up where he made all of his
Yeah.
strides and progress from 21, and now we're seeing his year 2 development halfway through the middle of his third
Now,
season.
In one game. Like, I'm not willing to say this is who he is, because I can't just forget all the crappy games and the crappy games this year and Dallas and everything. He still got benched in consecutive games. He still wet his pants against the Cowboys, absolutely melted, whatever you want to call it. But that he bounced back, that he is not irreparably broken, that he is capable of this performance, that's a good sign. That is and all around good sign for, I think we talked about this on Six Rings postgame show. He has been more even-keeled than his coach, than almost anybody. And I think that's a really good sign for a guy who supposedly is not even-keeled, is sort of an emotional wreck or whatever you want to call it.
Very temperamental, prone to flare-ups, blow-ups. Yeah.
Nah, he
guy.
had it. And I believe him when he said he wanted to go out there and he believed they were going to drive down the field and score. I absolutely believe him.
Love that.
Now, it's much easier when the running back runs 34 yards when you throw it to him on the first play. That really changes things.
Well, it's also easier to say it, afterward in victory, the same way when I was saying in the post-game show Sunday, like it just felt like there was better energy there. And you're like, oh, you're only saying that because they won. Come on now.
I don't believe you. I believe him. I believe that he went into that huddle with that kind of confidence. I don't think he was like, oh my God, I've never done this. What am I going to do? Oh, we're going to lose.
It's the way it should be. But it also takes more than just Mac Jones. It takes the line holding their blocks. It takes Ramondre not running into a tackler, but scampering and finding a hold. Hunter Henry hanging in there. Mac Jones hanging in there, taking some hits as he delivers that dime to Hunter Henry. It takes Pop Douglas willing to stretch out to the goal line, almost score, and take a DPI as well. Like, everyone, this is what it looks like, not when doves cry, but rather this is what it looks like when everyone on this team is operating at max capacity. This is what it should look like. They should be able to validate the confidence we had in them and hang in there with some of the better teams in the NFL. And you know what? This coming Sunday, I don't need more Parker. Juju Smith-Schuster can be a role player at most. Don't F up what's already working for you.
And from Mac, stay even-keeled, stay positive, stay smiling, and he wasn't on the field. I'm fine with the on-field crap. He was yelling. He was pissed at Douglas, who made a bad read.
Yeah, he didn't sit down on one route. Yeah.
Like, that's fine. That's what quarterbacks do. Like that, Dan Marino did it. John Elway did it. Tom Brady did it. Good quarterbacks. You need to lead. And sometimes you need to be an a-hole to lead. Sometimes you need to tell somebody, hey, dumbass, that's the wrong thing to do. But he needs to build
for
on
20 years.
Yeah. But you know why? Because he won and because he was good. Like, you need to build on it. You need to continue to play well. Don't turn the ball over. Make throws that you need to make when you need to make them, with the game on the line or with the third down on the line, those types of things. Also, I don't think we ever delved into this world on Six Rings. I'm trying to think back because I don't want to be a hypocrite fraud. I hate hypocrite frauds. There's a lot of them in the media. I don't want to be one.
Okay.
I don't think we ever delved into everyone hates Mac. He's lost the locker room. Because I think
that video afterwards from the camera guys at NBC Sports Boston will show you otherwise. 30 straight seconds of
but I don't
Mac porn. Everyone hugging him, seeking him
did
out.
Did we ever say that? Did we ever go down that road? Because I don't think we did. I think
we said there could have been, coming off of the Henry McKenna tidbit of a friend of Mac Jones saying, what do you expect him to do with garbage? How can you cook out there? Like, we thought there was a chance that there could become a rift. We had heard stories of some people in the building, not in the locker room, in the building, being firmly out on Mac Jones.
Yeah, but I don't think we ever, and some did. So I am not surprised. I always go back to
us. No,
I think he's been a douche in the media. I don't necessarily like Mac, the guy that I see publicly on the, Jones and Mego show or press conferences. But I've always remarked, I thought it's remarkable that Judon and Bourne and Henry, these guys seem to love Mac Jones. They always have, dating back to year one. And I've always said, I don't believe he has the same personality in the locker room he shares with us. And I think people do like him on his team. So that didn't really surprise me. Now, I'm always a little surprised when it's like ebony and ivory, like opposites type thing, like Devon Godchaw or Mike Onwenu, when it's like the big lineman. Oh, wow, he really likes Mac Jones too. I didn't know if I, necessarily see that coming. It makes sense. The receiver loves him or the tight end loves him. But when it's the big D tackle, you're like, oh, wow, they really do like him. So good job by Mac all around.
Absolutely. Good job by Mac Jones. He gets the highest grade from me. I think everybody in Patriots Nation would agree that was Mac Jones' best game as a pro. And let's see a follow-up. Go down to Miami where you've had nightmares. No throwing to Devontae Parker when he's covered by Xavier Howard. That has happened far too often. No bad picks. Hang in the pocket. Offensive line do their job. Because now I will tell you there is renewed interest from the media to the fan base and all throughout Patriots Nation for Sunday's upcoming game in Miami Gardens at Hard Rock Stadium, dubbed by us the Fraud Bowl. Patriots at Fish. We will preview that one later in the week. We'll go behind enemy lines and get you as much intel, insight, perspective, analysis, and more when we can. But those are our grades for Buffalo against the Patriots. Agree, disagree, give us a shout at FitzyGFY, at Jumbo Hart, and of course, at Six Rings Pod. We appreciate you listening, just like we appreciate our friends at the FanDuel Sportsbook for sponsoring this fine podcast. All right, Andy. Now we need to take a look. Since we've handed out our grades, we have basked in the glorious waters of the Patriots' victory over the Bills and breathing a little life back into the corpse of this season. We need to just weigh in one more time on the Bill Belichick contract extension in the curious news drop that was a couple hours prior to kickoff Sunday. Your old pal, Rap Sheet, Ian Rappaport, taking to NFL Media, the network, of course, of champions, and saying that a lucrative contract extension had been signed, and it looked like Belichick would be around here for the next couple of years, the rebuild, if you will. And then we learned Monday night, and there was a lot of scrutiny and debate around that, and people were calling into our postgame show, and it was a lot of the hubbub and buzz in the lots before the game. Cut to Monday, our old pal Dale Arnold, Dale here, tweets out that his sources tell him that it is a 3-year deal for William of House Belichick, which is kind of interesting. And so that terms have been agreed to, that this basically will allow him to finish the work that he has done. What he has to say or what his part will be in the continuity or succession plan, we don't necessarily know. I like to think that this was like I said before, it's the Bellaflex. This is Bill hearing that there's a lot of heat on him, that Robert, as said through Jeff Howe, this odd relationship that's going on right now, he could be fired at any point. He was feeling the heat. So I think he wanted to make sure that this was perfectly timed before the game. And dare I say, thank goodness his team responded accordingly Sunday, because whoa, boy, people would be a whole lot more heated about this if the Pats went out there, lost, or, got waxed once again.
So there's a lot to break down here
Unpack it,
over the few days. Now, certainly this was a intentional response to the pressure on Bill Belichick. I think that's clear. That it went through crap sheet doesn't surprise me. Mm-hmm. I did find interesting yesterday, crap sheets competition, who we used to refer to these two guys as left pocket and right pocket, because they're in the team's pocket. But Adam Schefter was on the Pat McAfee broadcast, and he poo-pooed this information in a way in which he said, and I agree with him, quote, "I don't believe the deal has any bearing on his future going forward, that he and Robert will still sit down at the end of the year, and just like it would have been in any..." Now, the things I question. Okay. So first, it's an extension that was signed this offseason. So did he not have a contract? Was he not under contract?
Hadn't we always heard, by the way, hadn't we always been told that that it's this mysterious pact between Kraft and Belichick, only they and Jonathan know the terms, and that they review it or revisit it every year? Isn't that how it works?
I mean, we've heard various things. I don't know that we've known anything like definitively. But I thought it was interesting because then Curran, who is very tied in, I would say, with the Patriots and the Kraft family, was saying he could not imagine, and I don't know that he was reporting, so I don't want to say he was reporting, but he was informed, speculating at the very least. He couldn't imagine this goes beyond 2024. So this year and next year. Well, then Dale, who I trust Dale, his sources, he has good sources.
Been good with the Patriots. Got to give mad props to Dale on that one.
So he said this is a 3-year extension. So at the very least, even if Bill's contract had ended, that's 23, 24, 25, right? And in Crap Sheet's follow-up on, I think, one of their app shows, he said the next several years this would have Bill in place in New England. So that's That's
That
3
kind
or
of
more.
jibes with Dale's report then.
Absolutely. I still believe I'm with the Schefter
That
side of
children
it.
are our future. Yes.
Indeed. I still believe that this doesn't really change anything. If everything goes south and Robert wants to move on from Bill, he'll move on from Bill. Now, maybe Bill pockets a little extra money. I don't know.
Right.
Whatever.
And we don't know the terms as well. Like if this was to be a multi-year deal, did Robert go to Bill and say, "Hey, do you not last year you really screwed the pooch. Now I'm willing to keep you around here for a while. The Shula pursuit, make sure you get all your ducks in a row, make sure the kids are good, figure out a succession plan. However, here's what I'm going to need back. A little less personnel control, a little more action, a little more satisfaction, and maybe just maybe take a little bit off the top. Maybe I'll give you a multi-year extension, but I'm not giving you 20 or 25 per every year."
Or
Could that have been the case?
how about there's been a very famous and popular or unpopular contract that has tangential connections to Patriot Nation, and that would be Brian Ferentz, the offensive coordinator at Iowa, who
Oh,
signed an extension with his daddy,
okay.
Kirk, his daddy.
Yep.
This is the former Patriots tight ends coach, Brian Ferentz,
Uh-huh.
offensive coordinator, been under a lot of fire, and his contract extension had very specific goals that he had to meet, incentives. And one of them is his team, I
Oh,
believe, has to score average 25 point something points per game, or he is not back as the offensive coordinator. Is there a
yowza.
possibility maybe Bill got an extension that says, like, but this can be revisited if you lose
Finished
10
last
games
place in
or
the
whatever, something
AFC
like
East.
that,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Lose to the goddamn Jets.
yes, I have this general philosophy that Robert Kraft does not lose contracts and deals. That's just I've come
I
up with that
think
over
he's
like
been making a
25
name,
years.
reputation, and business on that for
Yeah.
multiple decades now.
So, do I believe that Robert Kraft tied his own hands in a just like embarrassing fashion this offseason by signing Bill Belichick to a 3-year extension that pays him $50 million a year, and you couldn't possibly. No, I don't believe that. I do
That's
not believe that.
king-making. He hasn't done anything recently to deserve that.
No.
Does he do enough to not be fired in season? Yes. Does he do enough to maybe stick around for a while longer and help orchestrate or help be a willing participant in the farewell tour of his tenure as Patriots head coach? Yes. But does he deserve a raise and absolute power? Hell no.
And the last line of Dale Arnold's tweet was also interesting, in which he said specific job descriptions were also reportedly laid out. So there's also the possibility that the extension isn't to be head coach, or it isn't to be GM, or it isn't to be both. Like, there could be very specific parameters in there. Maybe this is his last year as the head coach, and he's going to be a consultant for the final 2 years of this several-year
Sure.
extension. Like,
Interesting. That's an interesting spin because if they made such an effort and went to such lengths to hold on to Gerard Mayo and prevent him from applying as an HC of another franchise in the AFC or the NFC, then how many years is he going to be willing to sit in said holding pattern? Like Josh McDaniels decided, like, I'm not going to do the holding pattern thing anymore, and ultimately left. He almost left once. He actually did leave once, then almost left a second time, and then decided to depart for the Raiders. Spoiler alert, I don't think that he's going to be there much longer either.
oh, leave
But
Josh alone. Focus.
I'm trying to. I'm just just a semi-informed opinion. That's okay. It's what we do here I know I'm supposed to host every now and again. I like to opinionate. Maybe that could be the case. That would be an interesting spin. How long do you think Mayo would be willing to be compensated for his work, but also to not go elsewhere and look outside the organization?
A few years. I think you have a few years with Mayo. I do, for a variety of reasons, personal, professional, different things. There's worse things than being a 30-something coach that continues to learn at the teat of Bill Belichick. And
I was going to say the side.
oh, okay, side, whatever, desk,
Yeah.
feet. I went teat, whatever. I have a T-shirt that says I'm a teats man. So,
All right. All right. This will be the brought to you by overshare.com right now. Thank you, Andy.
like, this was a dramatic piece of information, and you're right. I think it was buried by the big win. I think it would have been an even more dramatic piece of information if they were beaten.
The
If they
hand
had,
wringing that would be going on right now if that news came out and they got their doors blown off Sunday.
which was expected, they were an 8.5 point underdog. They were
I know.
heavy
And
underdogs.
I'll dare say this: after Sunday, now I'm not victory lapping by any stretch, although I did think it was pretty funny that NFL Network had 10 different people pick the game. They all picked the Bills, and one person picked the final score to be 38-4. Now that's a little
Yeah.
cartoonish. Now
They're
you
always
deserve to get a little trolley-olio on that one.
trying
Uh,
too hard.
I'll put this one out there. It's 40 minutes in, Terp, so go ahead and timestamp this puppy. The Patriots will not get blown out the rest of the season. There is my proclamation following Sunday's game. You will not see what happened in the Saints game or the Cowboys game happen again. May they lose
What's a blowout?
by more than 14 points.
I think they will.
You do?
I do.
Care to share against whom?
Well, I have multiple candidates, but certainly the Bills in Buffalo are a candidate because I think Josh
Andy,
Allen's going to have a
they
beat.
listen, guy. That shoulder's an issue. I can't guarantee you that everything's all will be right in the wide
not
world of
guaranteeing it.
Buffalo.
I think there's a chance they get beat by more than 14 this Sunday in Miami.
Never.
And
No.
the Chiefs are still on the horizon, and I know they're not really blowing people out, but they're also a really good football team with a really good quarterback. And didn't we say earlier? What did we say earlier? The Patriots can't cover.
Mobile quarterbacks.
No. But what can't they cover in the pass?
Speedy young tight ends.
Oh, and I believe that Taylor Swift's boyfriend gets open really well in the middle of the football field. I think last week I looked up and he caught his first 10 passes. He was targeted.
Am I mistaken, though? Has Belichick done a pretty good job against Kelsey?
I'd have to go back and look. I don't remember him killing them. Now, the focal point has always been they do a good job against Tyreek Hill with Jonathan Jones. So that was
I have
part
Jonathan Jones. I would have him in traction, in bubble wrap, in a hot tub, then a cold tub. I'd have him in a sleeping chamber, whatever it is you need to do this week. Put him in the dunk tank from Empire Strikes Back with the fancy robot healing him up. Whatever the restorative, water bath. I find a Lazarus pit somewhere nearby. Whatever you need to do to make sure he's well enough to help out on Tyreek Sunday, you do it.
Let's make a friendly FanDuel bet.
Okay.
Patriots losses by 14 or more points the rest of the season, a half. You're taking the under.
I will take the under.
I will take the over.
All right. This ends in, ready? This ends in the sandwich of choice.
Okay.
The other has I'm gonna order something from one of those fabulous South Coast delis.
Okay.
You're gonna bring me in or whatever, or you can say, "Hey Fitzy, on one of your drives from your little Connecticut enclave with your blah blah blah, you got to bring me up some of that fancy Connecticut pizza or something like that."
Yep,
I'm on it.
Okay.
Deal. It's a meal deal. I say the Patriots under 1/2 a game, the rest of the way losing by 14 or more.
Okay.
Now 14 is the bus. 14 is the bus point.
Yep. No, I'm very comfortable with that. I'm
all right.
Very, very comfortable with that.
Virtual shake. Audience, you are our witnesses.
Just getting back to our topic of the segment, the Bill Belichick contract extension.
Yeah.
You didn't really weigh in. Do you believe? So I'm with Schefter. I do not believe this significantly alters any options on the table for Robert Kraft. I think he could fire Bill when he wants. I think he could go to my McCourty and Mayo plan. Do you think this changes anything?
And I do appreciate the fact that you took the McCourty and Mayo plan to the broadcast airwaves and had to charge up the hill of Christian Fourier's misunderstanding to finally get to a level ground where he took the time to actually not overreact to it. It's a solid plan. It's a solid plan as well. But maybe, just maybe, you could Mayo would end up being your McCourty or John Lynch. Maybe he's not even the head coach in waiting. Maybe he is, because of his business acumen. He could be. We don't know. We'll see. But I'll weigh in on it now. I do not believe Bill Belichick at this point now will be fired in season. Sunday's game went a long way towards.
Wait, you thought that was a possibility before Sunday?
If there was another 34-0 affair, if you will, at home in front of those fans with all the Josh Allen jerseys in the house, heads may have rolled. There would have at least been a scapegoat. That would have, Andy, that the Saints game is true. The Dallas game could have happened and you could still bounce back and put forth a valiant, workmanlike, professional effort. The Saints game, to me, is the worst loss of the Bill Belichick era by a mile. Okay. Far more embarrassing than the Dallas game. That can happen.
I never really thought there was a chance he would be fired in season. And
But I do think Billy. But to finish answering the question, sorry. I do think at any point, if Robert Kraft, if this season goes 3-14, Sunday's a one-off, and they have multiple 17 or more point losses, Kraft could easily go at the end of the season and say, like, Bill, we gotta. We're good. I'll pay. What's it going to cost?
Will you be surprised if Bill Belichick is the head coach of the Patriots in September of 2024?
No,
I will be.
Yeah,
I think he's gone. I think he's gone.
Agree. Okay.
I still don't know the exit strategy, plan, chain of events, any of that.
Mm-hmm.
I think we will be talking about a new sideline boss next year.
And wasn't it Chris Sims who said that he, from his dad connected to the family, that he's just heard Belichick's a little kind of getting a little tired and maybe, wants to spend a little more time with the fams, had a little tumult in the personal life. Like he may just want to, as great as he is at this and has been at this, and how he was just born, cut, and made exclusively and only for this, that it may just be time to enjoy the rest of your living days. Who knows? Maybe he just wants to just sail, hang out with the grandkids, and be weird.
So, let me throw something out there.
This is the perfect place to do it.
It's true. It's our podcast. We have plenty of whatever. So a lot of people, and they've used the Saturday ceremony at Patriot Place, the Dante Scarnecchia, where he's joking about making fun of Dante, yelling at people bigger than him, Big Cat Williams and all that.
Yeah.
Like Belichick's a different guy. Like everything he does in terms of the coach is an act and a facade, and it's a way he does business. And it gets criticized by a lot of people. It has when he was winning. It's gotten criticized more when he's losing, the whole thing. Is there any chance at the age of 72, this coming spring, he wants to just be loved? And I know that sounds funny, and I don't mean it to sound funny. And the best way...
He just needs a hug?
Kinda like a proverbial football hug. Is there any chance that could play out in he stays with the Patriots as a consultant or whatever the role is, but he's the one that gets a freaking luxury box that CBS cuts to and says, there's Bill Belichick enjoying his first year of semi-retirement, obviously the greatest coach
and
ever.
A Parcelsian role as general manager or, executive vice president of player operations.
And only gets
come
praised,
up with a BS
right?
term for him. Although I don't think they'll be sharing the booth, because did you see the handshake between Kraft and Belichick?
No. He'll have his own booth with whoever he wants in his booth, his guests. Hey, Bon Jovi in the booth with Belichick today. Hey, it's whoever, Tony La Russa, Tito Francona, his buddies. Like, is there any chance?
Hey, there's Alex. There's Alex Cora and John Bon Jovi. Yeah.
And doesn't have to worry about challenging a damn sideline play in the third quarter. Doesn't have to worry about anything else. And it's a no-lose situation because he'll only get praised. If the team loses, well, that's just Gerard Mayo's got to get his team's act together. They're not. And if they win, well, Belichick seemingly has turned this around from his consultant role high above Gillette Stadium. I'm just throwing it out there. Everybody likes to be liked. Everybody would prefer to be liked. Maybe he wants to be loved late in his football life.
That sounds, you know what? It's always at the end of the podcast now. I feel like that you come up with these new, and I'll probably hear this on your McFarland Energy sponsored hit with Gresham Fourier tomorrow. Yeah, I like how you workshop your radio hits. We'll hear it tonight on Rich Keefe. We'll hear it tomorrow on Gresh. So everyone, tune in to the end of the Tuesday Coaches Grades and Pat's Paris podcast. The Pat's Grades, where Andy workshops what he's going to do on the Rich Keefe show and on Gresham Fourier. We're going to now call this the Andy's Playground portion of the podcast as well. And you know what? I am here for it because I'm about to help us wrap up this podcast as I host the program, but also I like it. This is more sound, fundamental, humane, like real person, real fan oriented fare. I think it makes a ton of sense. Maybe he does just want to be finally appreciated. And I'll tell you this, as we wrap it up here and put a little bow on the old pod, there would be nothing that would get him coming from the start of this season, the 0-2, then 1-2, then 1-5, and those god-awful losses. There would be nothing that would probably help Belichick get celebrated should he decide to go into that good coaching night, like finishing 9-8, a strong finish to the season, winning more games than they lose the rest of the way, using the Buffalo win as a springboard and being a tough out each and every week, providing entertaining football that resembles the blue collar of the fan base and everything that he built in the culture of the Patriot way. That I would be thrilled. Honestly, that would be as much as I could possibly ask for at this juncture as a now several decades long fan of the New England Patriots. Andy, real quick, last thing, Marcus Jones, unfortunately, we learned via Troy Brown in his Tuesday morning Zuma, out for the season. His torn labrum, just like with Marcus Jones, requiring surgery. So, Christian Gonzalez. So your number one cornerback, Christian Gonzalez, torn labrum, out for the season. And your number 3 or number 4, your top slot corner and best kick returner, punt returner, special teamer, an offensive weapon in bloom, Marcus Jones, basically his entire sophomore season redshirted, out from under him with the labrum. That's a bummer.
It's a little bit of a bummer, but I forget about Marcus Jones when I'm making my list of guys I look forward to moving forward with the Patriots. He would be on that list.
He's been a non-factor all season. You're right. We should start including him in the guys to build around in 2024.
Also, now he has plenty of time to study the offensive playbook to make that transition full-time. And when Demario Douglas and Marcus Jones are on the field together,
good luck covering that.
Out defenses.
And how about that secondary next year? Gonzo, John Jones, Jack Jones, Marcus Jones, Marte Mapu, Jabril Peppers. I don't know who any of the other safeties will be, but that's a pretty good start as well. And we shall end on that positive note. Another excellent edition of the Six Rings in Football Things podcast with our grades for the victory against Buffalo. A couple of words about next Sunday's game against the Dolphins, of course, a little Belichick contract talk, and so much more. And don't forget to tune into the Rich Keefe Show Tuesday night with Andy, Wednesday night with me, Thursday night with Andy, and Andy will be on with Gresham Fourier Wednesday, where he'll just repeat what he said a few minutes ago about Bill Belichick wanting a hug.
I'm extend what I said a few
minutes ago. You'll extend it. This was the beginning. Now you'll work on it for the next couple hours, and you'll allow it to germinate.
You never go to a restaurant in the first week. You wait till they get all their what together.
Always.
Here.
Pro moves only here on Six Rings. For Terp, for Hart, this is Fitzy. Thanks for listening as always. We'll be back soon. Good day. God bless, and go Pats.